Assalamu alaikum, good evening and Eid Mubarak, and welcome to a very special program of Health is Wealth. I am your host Shabnam Riaz, and I'm sure that everybody is enjoying the day today. We brought you a special program where we want to inform you about all those things that you can do to look after your health on this special day. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to today's special edition. Eid Mubarak again to all our viewers. It's Eid al-Azha today, and everyone is celebrating. Everybody, you know, is busy probably marinating all that meat and everything. As we've been speaking about today, this is the Eid where, you know, lots of meat is being cooked and prepared and eaten. And because of that, we have with us our experts. We have Dr. Usma Shahid, who's a family physician. Thank you very much, Dr. Usma, for joining us here today, taking out the time from your busy Eid schedule.
Yes, first of all, Eid Mubarak to everyone from my side as well. And it's a pleasure sharing Eid Day with lots of audience.
Right.
So
I'm sure it'll be a pleasure for them as well once
Yeah.
they hear all your expert advice as well.
Yes.
And Dr. Sonia Bakhtiar, who's a nutritionist and also has done her MBBS in family medicine. Thank you for joining us here today, Dr. Sonia.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for you know, taking out the time on Eid.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. And Eid Mubarak, Eid al-Azha Mubarak to all the viewers
Right.
as well.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you a report, and let's see what you can learn from that. Okay, hoping that you found that very informative. Now we're going to turn to our guests and have some, you know, more expert advice about Eid al-Azha. Dr. Usman, tell us, you know, what sort of people should be careful about eating excessive meat on this day, because of course it's very tempting, and when everybody around you is having such wonderful feasts and everything, what should people be looking out for?
Definitely, you know, everybody loves meat, and when it's easily available for you, and a person, when there are festivities, people want to enjoy, and everybody's around, all the family members. What I want is that I don't want everybody should enjoy it, but in a way that they keep on enjoying it and don't get sick with it. So meat, usually the regular requirement for meat in a day is like what, 200 or 250 grams a day. Like, but when you have so much meat, people keep on eating, and there are several things like spicy food, because everybody goes for all the barbecues and the masalas and everything. So spicy food makes it like more acidity is created.
Right.
So they should, first of all, they should take little amount of meat, and they should add some vegetables and salads with it, so that it's balanced. And if they are taking a lot of meat, they should do some physical activity like walk, something like that, so that they burn what they are eating. The food should be, you know, usually it's made very quickly, so it's not cooked properly. Either it's undercooked or on charcoal grills, it's like overcooked. So the thing is, it's important that the food should be cooked properly. So and it should be, first of all, it should be washed, you know. The slaughtering is very important, that it should be very clean, and the meat should be washed, and it should be kept for a while and then washed, and then it should be cooked.
And then the place that you're washing it, that also has to be cleaned as well.
Definitely
later.
that, and your hands should be clean. It should be cooked in a proper way. This is the most important thing. Like, people are just putting the meat and just not cleaning it. They should clean it and cook it properly, because otherwise, we have so many cases of vomitings and diarrhea, and people are like in a mess. So I think in order to enjoy a festive Eid, they should be very careful about what they're eating.
Right, right. Okay, Dr. Sonia, I want to ask you this. When we talk about all that meat that's being collected and washed, and then the proper storage, what should that be? How long can you sort of keep that meat outside in the fridge? When should it go into the freezer, and how long should it stay in the freezer?
See, meat can be contaminated. The weather is very hot these days. So once it's washed, what I think it should be sent to the freezer within 30 minutes.
Within 30 minutes?
Into a controlled temperature.
Okay.
And another thing which is very common with Eid al-Adha, we do slaughter the animal and we store it for like days and days. It's for the health recommendation, it is advised that the meat should not be stored for more than 10 days.
Okay, you're talking about frozen meat?
The meat, yes,
Yeah.
after slaughtering, if we are keeping it up.
Right. So
Otherwise, once we are it's slaughtered, it's fresh meat, we wash it, we marinate it for the barbecues and the tikkas and all that. If we are doing
how long
that,
can stay in the fridge?
for about like 4 to 6 hours, the marination time.
But if we're keeping, raw meat in the fridge before we're freezing it, how long can it stay there?
About
without
an
being-
hour.
About 10 hours, okay, right. And you're saying that once you freeze that meat, you should
It should
keep
not
for,
be kept for more than 10 days.
not for more than 10
Not
days,
more.
because you have this tendency of people keeping it for longer.
Secondly, the animals these days are highly medicated. They have been given all kind of hormonal injections and other things, which can, and the Congo virus, the current issues, the disease, because it's not a disease for the animal. They would recover within 1 to 3 days of their exposure, but it's a serious issue for the humans. So for that, we need to keep a check.
Right. Dr. Usma, tell us about, you hear lots of people talking about uric acid and its sort of relation to eating meat. What other things can eating too much meat cause? What chemical imbalances can it cause? How can it affect you? And what sort of people need to be careful?
Okay, the thing is, this is a regular practice that when during like Eid day, they use all the fat that is with the meat and use it for cooking it. One thing is, I would strongly say that they should not do this. That fat is like seriously injurious to health. The other thing is, they use the organs, the liver and the brain. They make the brain masala.
Exactly, that's a delicacy.
It's full of cholesterol, right?
Okay.
And if a patient, for normal people and healthy people, if taken in a little amount, it's fine. But people who are hypertensive, who have diabetes, who have other issues, they should avoid taking those.
Right.
And they should take in a balanced way. The diet should be balanced. It should have some meat and some vegetables with them and salads. So one thing is this, and people who are suffering, because red meat causes uric acid is high with red meat. So people with hyperuricemia, they get the attacks with that.
What happens with when you've got too much uric acid?
In uric acid, once it's high, then you can have gout, that your greater toe and your muscles, they have inflammation and you have lots of pain. So the most important thing is that it should be taken in a very, little amount. And if a person has a high level of uric acid, they should avoid taking red meat. So that's the most important. And once the meat is taken, it can, when cholesterol is high, this is very important that it should be balanced with vegetables, right?
Right.
So
people. So you're talking about people who have a uric acid, who
high hyperuricemias, yes,
and people who have hypertension and high levels of cholesterol.
Yes, cardiac diseases, diabetes.
They should be careful.
Yes.
So those are the people that need to be careful. Nobody's saying that don't have any fun, but just keep everything within a balance so that it doesn't cause you any harm to your health. Okay, Dr. Sonia, tell us, lots of people, our part of the world, well, world over actually, but especially on Eid al-Azha, we love to barbecue. What is the proper way to barbecue, and what happens if that meat gets too, you know, sort of too overdone or burnt?
See, if barbecue is the delicacy, we all enjoy. And usually people are not into that much of meat eating. Everyone is not a meat lover throughout the year. But during Eid al-Azha, everyone becomes fond of it. So for barbecue, they should have a perfectly warm coal bed. The charcoal should be properly prepared. And the barbecue, the meat which is being cooked should not be burned, because the burn area may get carcinogenic in nature.
Which means cancer causing.
Maybe, it can. So it should be properly cooked, it should be well cooked, it should not be half burned, half hard, which we say, okay, it was just left, just finish it off. It should be properly cooked on the right flame for the right time. And the basic key for the problem with the red meat is that it causes gastritis, that is like burning in the stomach, which is a common complaint people comes to us in our clinics all the time. So the ideal way, one of the suggestion is to take 2 spoons of yogurt before the food. Yogurt is a natural probiotic.
Okay.
And that helps in maintaining the alkalinity, because meat is acidic in nature, and yogurt causes the alkaline levels.
Okay, so that's also important advice there. 2 tablespoons, did you say, of 2 spoons of yogurt before you're going to eat all that barbecue? That will help you soothe your tummy a bit.
And secondly, do not get too much excited with eating with everyone, because it is not about food and food and food always. It's about many other things as well. And the basic thing which is explained by Sona as well, that keep one part empty for air, 1 part for water and 1 part for food. As far as we follow that. Absolutely. But yogurt and adding of fruits, fresh salads along with the barbecue would help in reducing the complaints.
Right. Okay, Dr. Uzma, tell us, on average, how much space should we give between meals, and especially on festive occasions? How can we be sort of mindful eaters?
Definitely, we should, you know, in a regular day, you should have proper meals and not in between. I seriously don't like in between. Eating in between meals. So you should go ahead with a proper breakfast, so that you don't feel hungry and don't sit with every guest coming with you and eating.
And they say that breakfast is one of the most important meals of the day.
Yes, they can have a proper lunch, and usually on Eid day people get very tired by the time after lunch, so they should sleep for a while and rest. And evening tea and proper dinner, there's no need to keep on eating, because, you know, at least they should have 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of, you know, break, so that the food is digested. And they should definitely, kids should go out and play, and adults should walk, because after that, if physical activity is done, then that meat will be, you know, digested.
Right.
And they have 3 days, so they can enjoy it slowly.
Take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy.
Take it easy.
And the most important thing is, like, we have to, what our religion tells us, like, we have to share it, you know. We are eating it every day. It's like the poor people and your relatives, so everybody should get a share. So you should have your own share, that's it.
And, you know, it is absolutely true that sort of if you keep a bit of space inside you, and you're not completely, you know, you haven't completely fulfilled your appetite, then actually that's a sunnat as well, and it's also, it keeps you feeling very alert. So that's true.
Could be one thing more. If, like, people suffering from kidney diseases or cardiac diseases, they should have a gap of at least 6 to 8 hours between 2 major meals. That's medically advised.
Okay.
So they do not overdo the functions.
And at dinner, they should take it earlier, and then
it should go
so that it's digested, and then they go to sleep.
Right.
And the smokers are also advised not to go soon after barbecues or these things for their smoking.
Well, why? What does that? Why?
That is again going to give them the gastric and the chest burning and the heaviness.
Okay, right. Okay, tell us about the fruit eating habit as well, because you get sort of different research where or you hear different things, myths, you know, when people say don't eat fruit right after your food, you should eat it before. What's the truth?
Well, knowing you that you really do your homework, I actually look for that. It's said that do not eat fruits straight away after your meals. You should at least give a gap of 30 to 45 minutes. So your fruits are properly digested. What we do is we finish our meal and we just snatch the apple.
It's sort
or
of like
whatever.
a dessert, isn't it?
No, even the dessert should be served after a while.
I see, okay.
Because it's acidic, the
Right.
fruit, and the peels of the fruits are very hard
To digest, it was like with
So when
just
is the right
absorb.
time? Can you take fruit before your meal then? Is that a good time to
Yes,
take fruit?
yes.
that
Why
could be
not?
one.
Okay, right now we're going for a break. Stay with us and don't change the channel. Okay, welcome back. We're sure you're having a great Eid, and here we are with our expert guests who are, sitting here and they've taken time off from their Eid activities to tell you all about how you can have a great Eid and stay happy and healthy as well. Dr. Uzma, now, you were going to talk about something that everyone, I'm sure, will find it in everyone's house. Yes. It's in mine as well, so I can't say anything, but you're going to tell us about the problems of having fizzy drinks.
The problem is I'm also a Coke lover. Okay, the thing is, this is a regular practice that after taking all the heavy meals, we are always taking the fizzy drinks.
Yeah.
Usually they say that this is how the food can be digested.
Yes.
Instead, because it's the other way around, because once you are taking all the spicy food and then you are adding more acid to it, so it becomes, the acidity level is increased. So it's better that you go ahead with juices rather than with the fizzy drinks and sodas.
Then why do you have this feeling of because you have this feeling of fullness when you're eating, and then this is sort of, everyone will say that take a specific drink,
Yes.
and then you are going to feel better after having that. And then people are usually adding it to milk, or they're putting lemon in it and having it. So where is this sort of, is that just psychological?
Definitely. The thing is, it definitely increases the acid level, and if rather than that, if they take yogurt with it and something like a fruit juice, something like that, they will feel much more lighter and better. So, and if they want to take, they can have a little bit of break, or don't mix it with very spicy food. They can have one or two. And the regular thing is, here people take a lot of drink, if you take one glass, then it's okay. They just keep on drinking, and with all the bigly 1.5 liter bottles and everything, they keep on taking it. So everything should be taken in, if it's taken in a little amount, then it's fine. It can be balanced. But if they are taking it a lot, then it's a problem.
So what sort of drinks should be substituted? You mentioned fruit juices.
Yes,
And what about
lemonade and things like that, they are helpful.
the sort of scungement that
yes,
is made?
yes,
That
why
would
not?
be a good,
Why not fresh things?
homemade
And they can
better.
have green tea. Green
Green
tea
tea.
after the meal. If they have green tea, that will help. It's antioxidant, and
Right.
So it's healthy as well.
Right. Would
why
you
not green tea?
suggest the tea bags or the open tea leaves?
Whichever is
type?
available.
Okay.
It depends. Obviously, I would go for the green tea leaves because it has a better flavor and taste.
Right.
But tea bags are fine if they are available, and if somebody knows how to prepare green tea.
Right, and with a bit of lemon in that, will that be helpful as well?
Yes, why not? Why not? So green tea will, because fluids will increase, and when you are taking dry meat and you are dehydrated with all the salt that is added. So if you take more
Okay.
fluids, you'll feel much better with that.
So I think that's something that many of us do
You feel
sort
thirsty.
of ignore,
Yes.
that we are ignoring the water intake.
Yes, because you feel thirsty with all the fatty food you are taking and all the salty food you are taking. So it's important that you have some fluids. So the fluids will enhance, they will keep you hydrated, and you'll feel much better.
Right, that's very helpful. Dr. Sonia, you were going to tell us about proper marination of meats, and also about the spices, the the spices that we have in boxes that are available for all different types of, dishes and meals. Tell us about that.
See, spices and chilies are we always advise not to use much. What my advice or a small suggestion is that instead of using the commercially prepared packs of spices for these tikkas and all that, we can add a bit of a ginger paste, homemade, or papaya powder, or the green papayas crushed properly, made into a paste for the marination and tenderizing of the meat. That's not only going to give it a better taste, but it's going to be health friendly as well. Instead of very heavy masalas and heavy chilies and that red ketchups, and instead of that we can use the homemade options.
What do all those spices do to you? Explain to our viewers, you know, the ones that can't kick the habit. Explain to them what these spices really do to them.
They comes to us with saying that we have pain, we have pimples, we have burning in our hands and feet, people suffering from, they get fever, they get, few are complaining with allergic responses. So for all that, it's better to have less spices, using mint chutney.
Exactly, homemade.
That is homemade mint chutney.
Or
corianders.
Imli, tamarind.
Turmeric, tamarind, or this green, this coriander and mint crushed together into this yogurt. That makes a very nice homemade dip.
That's true.
Which can be eaten well and which is going to help the health as well.
Yeah, and help in digestion as
digestion
well.
as well. It improves the digestion very well.
Okay, Dr. Uzma, tell us, you know, so here we have all the festivities going on and people getting together, and so, you know, who doesn't love a great meal at a family get-together, or when you've seen, so you're relaxed and you're eating more than usual, then there's the weather. So what is...
And somehow for the last 3-4 Eids, we are like stuck in the summer season.
Yeah.
First of all, starting from, we are getting the meat from the animals who are outside, contamination is there, then there is the virus, you know, the Caribbean, the Congo hemorrhagic fever virus. It's caused by the ticks. So the thing is, hygiene starts right from there. So if you're going there and you should have, you know, some gloves and things like that, and if you come from there washing your hands, then once the slaughtering is done, the meat should be washed, your hands should be washed. If we neglect all those things, you know, so then we suffer with the indigestions and vomitings, diarrheas. We have lots of patients coming home. You have to eat in a limited amount, so that, and it should be properly cooked, limited amount, and easily digested by the person, so that you don't suffer from these things. Everywhere you can see, and everybody's doing it at home. And this is the weather. They should wash away, you know, all the
Be very
blood.
careful.
And I think the government should come into this, and the garbage should be quickly removed, or there should be some proper space, you know, for the slaughtering and everything.
Absolutely.
Because that is one of the most important things.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're going for a break. Stay with us. Okay, Dr. Uzma, another very important aspect, you know, that is concerning when we're talking about Eid al-Adha is the animals themselves, the sacrificial animals, the diseases that they carry, and what people should be aware of. Okay.
The most important nowadays is what we call it Caribbean Congo fever, hemorrhagic fever. There was an outbreak in Afghanistan as well. This is a disease, like if we talk about the history of the disease, it started in present day Tajikistan, you say that, and in the World War, in around about like 1944, it started there, and there was an outbreak. Actually, you know, this is a disease caused by a vector called ticks, and ticks are carried by the cattle, like the sheep and goats, and it is in their hair, and people contract the disease from the ticks. Once, because of the handling and everything, the reported case of the disease was like around in 1976. Back in 1944, even Florence Nightingale, it was, I thought that she also contracted the disease. But in 1976, the disease, you know, became eminent, that people can suffer the disease because of the tick. and the ticks, you know, they are transferred to the humans, and the humans then contract the disease with that, and even the humans can infect the other humans with their body secretions and everything. So once the disease is established, you know, you cannot, you know, precautions are the most important for that, because there are not a lot of treatment options for
So
that.
what are the precautions?
Precautions, you know, first of all, you are when you're going out for buying the animals, you have to see that one thing is wear light colored clothes, because when people are wearing light colored clothes, if
They'll be
the
able to
ticks,
see.
if the ticks, if they catch the ticks, they are visible on the shirts, and they can have gloves, and it's not a good practice to touch every animal, you know. You should better watch small black insects. And
in fact, you find that lots of you know, parents will be taking their young children as well,
it's
making it into an
advised
activity.
not to take them. Strongly advised, and people are feeding, because this is a regular practice. People buy cattle, you know, a few days earlier, and kids are taking they should be the parents should see if the animals are carrying. Usually the practice is they check the ear, and behind the ear of the goats and cattle they see some insects, and so they should better watch that, because Congo created a mess, you know, in Afghanistan, and hemorrhagic fevers are always very concerning and alarming thing for all our health practitioners.
Right. What are the symptoms of the disease?
The disease of the Congo disease is that, first of all, people will have headaches and body aches, and then eyes, you know, they have photophobia, the eyes are, you know, propped up, and the most important is all the body aches with eye symptoms. So that you are, then there is abdominal pain, and the pain then shifts to the right side because it affects the liver. So it's on the right side you feel the pain because the liver gets damaged. Later on you go into confusion, deliriums, you know, things like that.
Internal bleeding.
Yes. Internal bleeding is like there is nose bleeding, and then the body, you know, people who contract it, they start bleeding. So this is one of the most...
It's something very, very serious that people have to be very, very careful about.
Yes, it's the easiest thing is, you know, the precautions, and otherwise you end up into a mess.
Of course, of course. And, you know, extremely serious disease then, one that you have to be very, very mindful of. Dr. Sonia, tell us, when you're looking for an animal then, how do you identify a healthy...
Let's see, the basic way is to check the ear, the mouth corners, and the foot, the hooves.
Right.
That is how, and the skin. There should not be any ticks, because as already very well explained by Dr. Uzma, it's like Congo virus. It's a virus, and it is carried by the ticks, and and it's contacted directly to the human once they touch it, or the tick which is sitting on the animal sits on the human. That's how the virus is transmitted, and it's a normal condition or a curable, resistible condition by the animals, but for human it become very lethal. And it's very dangerous.
So if somebody finds a tick or something like that on when they've been to that market, or on the animal they've bought, or they found them on themselves, what should they be doing next?
See, they should actually, once they are going for purchasing the animal, they should wear complete closed clothes. They should wear the closed shoes. They should try to wear any person who is to check the animal should wear gloves, should wear mask. The children should not be encouraged to touch the animals or to check them. They should be kept aside. And the best way is to keep a distance. You don't exactly have to physically check every animal. Just keep a safe distance, because precaution is always better than cure.
Of course. And you know, tell us about the influx of disease on this time of the year. What do you see in hospitals and clinics?
Well, usually people coming with they complains of fever, arthralgia, which is generalized body aches, and as it's all with the symptomatic relief which we are easily providing to the patients, but there is no vaccine or no particular treatment advised or made for this Congo. So precaution is always the better.
Right. Do we have any statistics on how much of a problem
this
is?
disease, you know, Obviously, precautions is the most important. Ribavirin is you know, a medicine that
Antiviral.
can be
That's
that
an
can be
antiviral.
used, yeah, can be used. It's in oral form as well, you know, tablets. That is, the thing is, once that you get the disease, you know, that person, that person who is suffering from the disease, you know, his body secretions are, you know, if you come into contact with it, it transfers to the other human. That is where the dilemma starts, you know. So the thing is, you have to be very, once a patient comes with and he's like diagnosed, there are several lab diagnoses, you know, but ELISAs and PCRs,
That is an advance forward.
That can be done.
And the incubation period lasts from 1 to 3 days to up to 9 days.
Right.
So it's not like that you get in contact with the disease and it is straight away gets into its form.
Okay, right.
Usually we do not remember the
within
source.
10 days
It's within the 10 days.
So,
The
so really
incubation.
important tips there, you know, many of them, because it's made into a sort of an activity where children are encouraged to go with their parents to where the cattle market is. That is not good advice, and always, as our experts were saying, you know, wear clothes that are tight, so, and something that is very light coloured, so that you can see if any ticks get onto you. That is what is important. Okay, now coming back to the you know, the usual activities on Eid. What do you prefer to do at home to keep everything healthy and, you know, sort of?
Somehow I seriously love Eid al-Adha, you know, I love, you know, I'm a meat lover.
Okay.
I love barbecues and things like that. But, you know, for me, the thing is, after watching so much meat, seriously, you don't even want to have some at that time. But a little amount, you know, gives you some flavor, some enjoyment. Depends if we want to stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
That is not my way. Like, I want to have some enjoyable part of it.
Right.
So the thing is, you should enjoy the meat that you are eating. Definitely celebrate with the family, and somehow, like, it's one of the most important things, you know.
Of course.
And it's religion,
Of
and
course.
you have that feeling and the satisfaction of sacrifice that you give. That is also very important.
So what's your favourite meal? Either you want to make or you want to eat that
Barbecue,
day?
definitely. I do
Barbecue.
it myself. I love it.
Okay.
And barbecue, definitely.
Right.
Yes.
And you, Dr. Sonia, tell us.
I am again a very big meat eater, so totally fond of it, and barbecue is my favorite. Along with the especially, which we were like just advising not to eat, very well cooked liver. Like,
Okay.
that's a delicacy which
And
I
that's
really
usually one of the first things that are prepared
that's
after the
after the slaughtering, after the
yeah,
sacrifice.
yeah.
So I really look forward to it.
Okay, right. That's great. So tell us about, you know, when we have salads made and things like that to support the main meal that we're having. We see that in many houses people eat lots of onions in the salad. Is that harmful, or is that okay, or what?
No, it's fine. The thing is, they can improve. What I can suggest, an improvement of salad is that this is an Arabian salad. You can go ahead with the diced vegetables and put olive oil on it, you know, extra virgin raw olive oil, and put a bit of lemon juice, and it gives a nice flavor with coriander, you know, and it makes a very nice salad. They can take it. It will become more healthier. They can go for hummus and dips. If they eat those vegetables along with it, or they can barbie the vegetables, you know, on the grill, and it will make it more balanced and enjoyable as well.
Is it true that people with kidney issues should stay away from tomatoes? Is that?
Not exactly tomatoes, but the seeds.
Oxalates.
It's basically the seeds,
Okay.
which are advised not to be taken. If they are properly washed, you can have it.
Washed and sort of de-seed them, get rid of the
them,
seeds,
yes.
and then you can have tomatoes?
Exactly.
Okay.
Then we can have, but obviously as balanced and quantity check is needed, no matter you are diseased or not. So that should be taken.
And you can
care
add olives and
Definitely.
yeah,
olives
things like that.
or yogurt, the mint, chutneys, all these things.
So what you were speaking about the sort of the mint chutney as well that you should have as well. You know that I think I'm getting really hungry. Okay. I'm visualizing all these things. So the mint chutney as well. What about coriander? What benefits does that have? Is that just
Coriander
a
is
sort of a?
No, it's a natural kidney washer.
Okay.
Coriander
That I didn't know.
tea, green tea. made with the coriander leaves helps in washing the kidneys. It's a natural cleanser for kidney. So people who thinks that they get a bit pain in their flanks, which is a common complaint, or they are already suspecting or diagnosed with UTIs or any kind of infection, they should go for the coriander.
Coriander chutney is a good idea then.
That's a very good idea. That helps in like detoxicating your body. And green tea,
Right.
the lemongrass.
Right. Also, you know, many of these things are common sense, basically, you know, to eat within a balance and a controlled sort of a way. When is the best time to indulge in exercise or walks? Morning, early morning, late at night, when?
Usually in the during the Eid holidays, what we do is we just eat and sleep.
And sleep.
Or just sit like from one table to another. Even we are visiting. We should purposely make time for exercise, even for 20 minutes of walk, whether in the morning or in the evening. Even once we are waiting for our barbecue to be ready, we can have a walk. So the body metabolism get activated.
What about the elderly? How do we make sure that they...
Yes, obviously they have all the chronic illnesses with them.
And then for them at that time, all those wonderful meals that are being, you know, prepared, so they're going to want to eat.
Yes, they should, you know, they should taste it.
Yeah.
They should taste everything and
Exactly.
in a little amount, you know.
Yeah.
Because I would definitely ask the patients should, you know, they should have some enjoyment while festivities and
Definitely,
functions.
so that they don't feel left out as well.
Yes, definitely. It's not that if you have a disease that you just leave everything, and that's not how life is, you know. That's not a practical thing that can happen, because you can, as doctors, we ask the people to leave this, that, but practically it's seriously very, very tough.
And isn't it true that doctors make the worst patients?
Definitely.
When it comes to practicing what you preach, it's sort of more difficult that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I suppose because you know all the health complications and everything, so you think that, you know, we
Actually,
can
the
control
latest
it.
studies are also suggesting that do not stop everything. Just go into quantity, get into the balanced usage. And yes, as we know the plus and the minuses of it, we do take care.
So we
right.
should eat it and burn it.
Right, exactly. So you know the basics behind
be
it.
happy and
So
eat.
let's talk about meat and sort of diet. Let's talk about if somebody wants to be on a diet, because we hear all these things about carbohydrates, not wanting to have that, and then you have some of the protein diets that are very popular. If you're trying to lose weight and you want to incorporate meat in your lifestyle without, you know, harming yourself in any other way, how should you go about it?
White meat.
White meat, okay.
Lean meat, right?
Right.
Red meat, no, it will not help you. If you go ahead with the fish, chicken, you know, then that's white meat. That will help you, and those are proteins. Obviously, they will help you lose weight. If you put salads and proteins, there are lots of, you know, diet plans available. Say on net, people come over. Definitely, there are lots of women coming over and asking for, you know,
Miracle
weight loss
plans,
and everything.
yeah.
We have, you know, on net they have, you know, there's a General Motor tires. You know, they made a diet plan for their employees. A very excellent diet plan for a week or so. You can lose, you know, some 10 kgs of weight in a week. But what in my practice I see nothing, you know, nothing. Even if people join gym, they have to do it for the whole life, you know. Something that you have to do it continuously. Diet plans, you do it for some time, then you just leave them, and then you put on all the weight that is gone. So the most important thing is your willpower. That if you want to lose weight, first of all, just stand on a scale and you should know what your body weight is, and then you can follow it.
Right.
And I would definitely ask people not to have in-between meals. Don't eat in between meals.
Munching should be
Munching, yes, that is one of the major reasons. If
What
you
are
are
the worst
full,
things that are really, you know, that we're munching away and we're not realizing are really making us put on weight? What are those?
all the crisps, and rather than that, I would prefer and ask patients to make a mixed nut thing. You know, walnuts are excellent for lowering your cholesterol and everything. So why not make a packet of mixed nuts, and during, you know, office and every time you want to eat, you can have those. You can have a fruit instead of, you know, all the pastries and bakery stuff. Once I've seen if you leave the bakery stuff, you lose a lot of weight with that. So with the diets we have, you know, the roti and, you know, all the curries and rice, those are all healthy foods. But the junk we eat and the sweets and the ice creams and chocolates, you know, all those stuff.
We hear lots of people saying, you know, cut down on your rice, cut down on your roti.
It's
That will
basically the
help you.
carbohydrates, which
So-
they say.
Right. So tell us about that. How much rice or roti should we be having to, you know?
See, depending on how much weight you want to reduce. Reducing weight is one thing, maintaining your weight is another aspect. So first, the target, if we are to try to reducing the weight, then we should cut to the maximum level.
Which would be?
Should be like half roti.
Okay, for a whole day.
Yes.
For a whole day, just have half a roti.
But having one roti, and instead of that, we take 15 almonds and we chew it. It gives the same fullness. The craving for the food starts when you don't feel the fullness. So the nuts, these things gives you the fullness. And usually one common mistake is we feel hungry, we feel dizzy. We straight away go and eat something. At times the desire is only for a glass of water. You just drink water, and that is what body is craving for.
Right. So understanding your needs as well isn't something that you have to.
And obviously following advice by the experts.
Okay.
That is what is needed.
Right. Okay. So unfortunately, we've run out of time. And Dr. Uzma and Dr. Sonia, thank you so much for being with us here today and taking out the time on this special day and spending it with us and the viewers as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting. It was lovely being with you.
Likewise, likewise, it was a pleasure. Okay, so we've come to the end of today's program, very special program, and from our guests, from the whole team, from everybody here at PTV World, Eid Mubarak. Have a great day, and do take advice from all our experts. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye-bye.